Marjorie Stoneham Douglas High School junior Ariana Klein survived the shooting. She and her father, Andrew Klein, join us now from Parkland, Florida, after attending yesterday's listening session with the president at the White House. It's very good to see both of you. Thank you for joining us. I know how difficult this situation has been, although we can't really understand it and what you've all gone through. You were amazingly poised yesterday, Ariana, at that White House event. I watched every minute of it, and I know the country and just is rallying to all of you. And your reaction to this news that we just learned a few hours ago about how the security detail who did have a weapon didn't enter the building. Your reaction to that?
Well, you know, as a father, Laura, and thank you for having us, it's just maddening to hear that news. You know, when you put your faith in the law enforcement to act to protect your children, and then they fail to act, it's just inexcusable. And, you know, it highlights the other failures that led to this tragedy, that contributed to this tragedy, which was the breakdown at the FBI, in failing to act on the tips that they had, the prior failures of the BSO. So I think that people need to be held accountable. This deputy has apparently been held accountable, but I think we need to continue to look at who's responsible for their failures to act in these circumstances.
Ariana, also in the investigation, they found out that the security camera footage that I guess the officials on the scene at the time were reviewing was delayed. So they weren't getting real-time information about what was happening inside the building. There was a several-minute delay, so they were reacting to things that had already happened, which kind of defeats the purpose, don't you think? Ariana, your reaction?
Yes. Yes, well, I think it's disgusting that a police officer on campus, he knew his job, and for him not to enter the building where harmless, like innocent children were being shot is just disgusting. And I think that in regards to the technology department and the fact that the security footage was 20 minutes delayed, it should never have happened, and that's one of the simple issues that everyone can agree on that needs to be fixed. We need to be proactive instead of reactive, and we can't have these security footages being looked at after the matter.
Last night at the big CNN town hall event, there was a lot of raw emotion. One of the students who wanted to attend but didn't attend because he was upset that to him it seemed like his question was being scripted for him. He spoke out tonight on Tucker's show. I want to play it for you and get your reaction. Let's watch.
They had taken what I had wrote and what I had briefed on and talked about, and they actually wrote the question for me.
But not with your words. I mean, they put their own words into your question, even after they'd asked you to send questions in. But that seems dishonest.
It definitely did, and that's kind of why I didn't go last night. Originally, I had thought that it was going to be more of my own question and my own say, and then it turned out to be more of just a script. And she had actually said that over the phone, that I needed to stick to the script.
Ariana, what's your reaction to that? That the CNN denies this, by the way, but they have a history of planting questions that Michelle Malkin and others have written about before in other events. But Colton Hobb, who gave that interview, was emphatic about his point.
Yes. Well, I think the whole point of the town hall meeting was to hear the kids and hear what we had to say. And for that to happen is inexcusable. Our voices need to be heard, and he should have been able to ask any question he had to ask. But instead, we have these networks that don't want us to give our real opinions, and they want us to further their own agendas.
Andrew, it seemed like
Laura,
most of the students, Andrew, had the same opinion on what to do, namely to ban certain weapons, to trash the NRA, to be really disrespectful to Marco Rubio, and nasty things being said to Dana Lash, who was there. But they all seemed to be pretty much in agreement, as far as I could tell. There was no diversity of opinion among either the students or anyone else that I saw, even in the audience.
And Laura, that's not surprising at all. I actually spoke to a CNN producer on Thursday, the day after the shooting, and the producer insinuated to me they were looking for people who were willing to espouse a certain narrative, which was taking the tragedy and turning it into a policy debate, and I read that as being a gun control debate. And unfortunately, I think a lot of the people talking about gun control don't understand what they're talking about, because I'm a Republican, I'm a gun owner, I'm a responsible gun owner. And when we talk about gun control, it's not about taking guns away from people like me. It's about keeping them out of the hands of the people who should not have them, who are irresponsible, who are a threat to society. And when, last night when Ted Deutsch kept repeating his mantra that he wants to eliminate any gun that can fire 150 rounds in 6 minutes, that's almost every gun that's out there. So this supposed assault weapons ban, these other items they're talking about, aren't going to accomplish anything, along those lines. So I agree we need to make some headway. We need to raise the age to buy a rifle. I agree with the president on that. But beyond that, a lot of these folks who are yelling gun control, really don't have a great grasp on what they're talking about.
So, Andrew, let me just get this straight. So the CNN producer who called you right after the shooting said specifically what about the way they wanted to produce interviews and so forth?
Well, as I recall, the producer said, we're looking for people who want to talk about the policy implications about what happened in terms of, she didn't mention guns, but, in terms of the policy implications for preventing future mass shootings. And if you know folks who want to talk about that, we'd like to speak to those people.
Very interesting. Ariana and
Yes.
Mr. Klein, thank you so much for joining us. Our prayers continue to be with the people of Parkland, and you guys are incredible. You were amazing yesterday. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.